Hi there. Today's video will be about handbags. I simply lost hope that I will get new mini brands fashion handbags anytime soon, and therefore I searched Aliexpress up and down for affordable alternatives. And the stuff you can see here is basically everything that I could find on a very inexpensive level, but still quite chic, I think. The most expensive ones were the metal ones that you can see here. I paid €3.25 for each of them. I also had a little coupon for 90 cents, so you can just say one cost me a little bit over €3 in total since I had no additional shipping costs. These metal bags are not new to me. You have seen at least the big silver one in my videos before. I did not buy the first one on AliExpress. I bought mine sometime last year on Shein. And I thought this shape and this simple design are so versatile that I wanted to have the golden one as well. And I think also the tiny ones could work for Barbie as well. But the problem I have with these is that they do have kind of a weird residue on them. At least the two big bags do have that. Not sure if that might be because they have been stored for quite a while. I don't know, but I don't like that, and it is not easy to be removed. Overall, the quality of the bags is good. I do like the metal material. You can open up the bags, and overall, as I said, the quality is nice. I simply don't know why they do have these matted areas. I mean, they are definitely not scratched. It is kind of a greasy, sticky feel, and as I said, it is not so easy to remove that. Here you do have the comparison with my older silver bag. The bag itself is exactly the same. The strap is also, or the chain, is also the same kind of chain, but the one from the older bag is shorter, also a little bit thicker, and as I said, mine did not have any spots, and since it is over a year old, the silver color did also not change. Anyway, I will try to remove the spots with a little bit more force and maybe vinegar. I don't know, but here you have it on some models, the big bag and also the smaller bag. I think these look quite good. It is even positive that now the chain is a bit longer, I think, so that's definitely a plus. And I do recommend buying them, but maybe from a different seller and not the one that I choose, since I still don't know what the greasy stuff is. Next up, this here is definitely the biggest packaging. I bought two bags from one listing. Both bags are very similar and they cost me €2.25 each. Now that I have this piece in hand, I'm not quite sure if I like it. I think I was a bit in love with the strap, but not so much with the actual bag. It is made out of resin. The paint job is not so good, and I guess it is actually more like a bag for your cosmetics. So not really a handbag, but I think on the doll it should look quite okay. And as I said, I bought two bags out of one listing. Here's the other one. And yes, the paint job is even worse. So here the paint job is actually pretty bad. But I have to say, it does not look that much better on the seller pictures. So that's definitely on me. I still like the chain. This time the chain is silver and the paint is still golden. So I decided to remove the golden paint from the bag. And since it is resin, I decided to use rubbing alcohol and not acetone, since it could damage the resin. But the paint is quite stubborn, so I decided to wrap the bag into the cotton pads with some rubbing alcohol on it and clinging foil, waited 20 minutes, then tried my luck again, and as you can see, it is still not easy to remove the paint. So I gave it another 10 minutes and then tried again. And yeah, that also did not work out that well. I mean, I was able to remove quite a bit of the golden paint, but simply not everything. And I did it off camera with a lot of patience and some help of a toothpick. And now I think it looks a bit better. But I have to say, the golden paint is a bit sticky. I don't know if it is golden paint that is mixed together with some kind of glue. I mean, the part where the paint was is now a bit matted, and I decided not to paint on it again since the shape did not make so much sense, especially not when you would like to use this as a handbag. I don't know. Here you can see them on the dolls, and I think when a doll is wearing them, they look quite okay. Maybe I tried to convince myself that I did not, simply bought bad stuff, but I guess I will find in the end, or at some point, a styling that makes sense for these two handbags. And if not, I could also remove the chains and use them as cosmetic bags, I guess, simply for decoration. Now it's time for the bags that I definitely liked more than all the rest. And now it also gets a little bit complicated because all the following bags came from one listing, but even though I ordered these bags only 13 days ago, the listing is already gone. But that doesn't matter, I still would like to show you the bags, and I did find listings for most of them. I do have the feeling that a lot of them are simply very highly thought after, and I guess the reason for that is, yeah, I have to say it, Labubu. I guess everyone wants to have bags for their Labubus. That's also the reason why I hope that maybe Mini Brands Fashion will do a new line with handbags at least, since everyone is dressing up their Labubus. But also, these bags are very nice for Barbie. So let's start with the Dior bags. Since when you buy these bags, they only show you the back of the bag because they are not allowed to show the label, I guess. This here at first is the white version. Those bags are made out of a rubbery material and they do have a metal chain. I think overall the quality is not bad and they look good on the doll. It's just funny that you really have to know how the bag looks from the back, since otherwise you simply don't know what company you're buying the bag of, if that makes sense. Here you do have the black version of the bag, and it is definitely an older model, so these were a bit more inexpensive. They only cost me €1.99, and all of the bags were choice products, so I had no additional costs. And this bag here looks exactly like the white one, just in black. And even though it is a rubber material, I do like the pattern, and it looks good and not cheap in my opinion. Here you do have it on some dolls. Definitely some nice styling pieces. Next up is Chanel. Here you also have two different color options. Let's start with the white one. This is definitely a newer model and it does have a lot of detailing on the front. The logo looks really good and it even does have golden details. The chain is nicer than the one from the Dior bags, even though the little eyelets on the side of the bag are silver and the chain is golden, which is definitely a bummer, but it is not such a big thing, I guess. They even took some thread to be kind of woven between the metal chain, but the thread is like a phone strap or something like that. It is a bit harder, and so you have to detangle that, but you will see later on it is not such a big deal. Overall, a very nice bag, and this one cost me €2.60 each. Here's the black version of the bag, which is basically exactly the same, just with opposite colors. And also here, the chain is a little bit crumbled, so it is necessary to untangle everything. And I think if the strap would be a little bit shorter, it would be easier, but I decided to leave it as is and just detangle the metal chain. You can see here the results, so everything looks already way better. Of course, you could also exchange the thread for something that is a little bit softer so that the chain will not get tangled again. But actually, when you do have it on the doll, there is no problem. It cannot go in the wrong direction again. But if you store the bag and it gets shaked up a little, I guess you would have to detangle chain and thread again. But overall, I have to say, this is a very nice model. I really do like that. And actually, at least I found a listing for these bags, even though the listing had them for €2.99. But maybe you can find a different or a better price. The next bags are from Hermes, and I have to say, I thought I would get exactly the bags from the picture because on the picture it looked like you would see the actual front of the bag, and I guess that is the case. But as I said, I think they're very careful not showing any logo. I don't know. It is a bit weird, but I bought the bags from the picture and I got the ones that you can see here with the Hermes logo. Let's start with the pink bag. The thing is, the Hermes logo on the back is pretty much yellow golden, and the chain is rose gold, and also the eyelets are silver, so it is quite a mixture of different colors. I paid €2.09 for all the MS bags, each one, and it is still okay. The material is quite different from all the other bags, so this is here also a rubber material, but it does have a very matte texture. I do not complain about it. I think it looks still very good, but I'm not quite sure if I really like the chain in combination with the logo because the colors do really clash a little bit. Next up is the white version of the bag, and this white is a little bit more grayish, so this is not a white white, it is a bit of an off-white, so definitely not that bright. And again here, the color of the chain is not the same as for the logo, since the logo is just a painted on golden color. Maybe I would just give it a different strap at some point, but overall the design of the bag is quite nice, I think. And you can see here on the doors that also the size is quite nice. This is definitely a Barbie sized bag or simply very suitable for 1/6 scale dolls in general. And since I didn't know that I would get those bags, I thought they would be way more simple. I also got the black color, and here I do really not like the combination of silver, the golden logo, and the rose golden chain, so I will change that since the next bag that you will see also does need a little bit of a change. The next one is the only one that I bought from this model because on the back you can see a little heart. I was not really so much in love with it, and as I said, I simply didn't know what company I would buy. Also, the color is nothing like the picture. I thought the back would be really red or yeah, kind of a bright red, and this is more like a brownish, slightly red color. It is a Gucci bag. Also here the logo is golden. The chain is like the Dior bag, more of a blackish metal color. I didn't like that, and I thought why not removing the hooks or the eyelets to use the bag simply as kind of a clutch. And for these older bags, it is quite easy to remove those screwed in parts, especially if you would remove the chain first and then remove the screwed in part. But anyway, it worked as well with the complicated style that I did here. And I thought, why not trying out the hot boiling method on the back here as well. I mean, it works for vinyl heads, so maybe it also would work for this rubber bag so that the holes on the side would be closed again or near to closed again. But as you can see here, it did not work out that well. Maybe the holes shrunk down a little bit, but not that much. And so I decided I would just switch out the chains on both of these bags. So the MS one will get the dark metal color and the Gucci one will simply get the golden chain since the logo on this bag here is definitely more also rose gold, I think, and not as yellow as on the MS bags. The eyelets on the MS bags are installed in a different way, so I don't think I could remove them without damaging the rubber material of the bag. So I have to live with the fact that those are silver, and I still think with the other chain it won't look that clashy anymore. And at first, I decided to disassemble the chain of the Gucci bag and gave it back the original eyelets, which was very easy. And also, the screwed in parts are still sturdy, they're not loose, so you could remove them and later on install them again. It's not a big deal with this kind of material. Now it's time to get the golden chain on the other bag, and it worked quite well. It is, as I said, very easy peasy. And I think in the end it definitely looks better in my opinion. I simply didn't like the dark metal color together with this reddish brown kind of color. And I also think that the dark metal chain will look better on the black Hermes bag. The darker metal chain is way thicker, also a little bit harder to attach since the metal is simply thicker, so you have to use a little bit more force. But it is indeed pretty simple, and I think this chain looks way better on the spec, and so I think it is definitely a win-win situation for both bags. Of course, now the chain of the black Hermes bag is shorter than the ones of the bags that still do have the golden chain, but I do think it looks quite good. And for the Gucci bag, it is simply the other way around, but I still think it looks good, even though the metal chain now is longer. And price wise, the Gucci bag did cost exactly the same as the MS ones. All of these rubber material bags are very affordable, but I do think they look quite nice on dolls. All of them, but the Chanel ones do have simply more details, so they are a little bit more expensive, but I think that's quite understandable and okay. I think these are definitely the prettiest bags. But I'm also very tempted to buy the Gucci bag again with a different design. Now with the golden chain, I like it definitely way better, even though the color has nothing to do with the color that I was able to see in the pictures. Or at least not when I have only the picture of the bag alone. I think when I can look at them all together on a picture with all of them, I can see that it is definitely more a brownish color. I don't know, it is not that important. I was able to find at least a few different links for the rubber bags so that you could have a look on them. Some of them are choice products to me, some do have shipping costs, so I don't know. But I guess with the pictures and similar items, or just Google image search, you will find exactly what you would like to find in case you have seen something interesting today. But as always, my links are never ever affiliated, so it is only for your information. I get nothing of that. You just have to know what I bought and how it looks on the website so you can do your own research as easy as possible. And I hope you liked my models for today and their new handbags. And actually, I was surprised by the quality. I thought it would be way less good, especially for the ones with the big logos. And I have to say, I really do like the Chanel ones. These are really awesome. I am a little bit disappointed of the ones with the resin bags, but as I said, I could use them simply as decoration and use the strap for something else, so it's not that big of a deal. And I also have to try to get rid of all the sticky stuff on the metal ones. I don't know. It is okay. It was an interesting haul today, I think, and I hope you had some fun with it. And since it was not a complicated video, you will at least get one more, maybe two more this weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in one of my next videos. Until then, as always, I hope you have a great time. Bye!